Hi, I'm Casey Bell, and you're watching Writer to Writer Interviews. Me, Myself, and Life. Revelations of a Naked Self is a book about the outcome of the soul-searching, self-discovery, and healing journey that Sally needed to take in order to free herself. Hi, I'm Casey Bell, host of Writer to Writer Interviews, and of course, this is another episode of Writer to Writer Interviews. I had the chance to talk to Sally Abou Ouf from Cairo, Egypt, about her memoir, Me, Myself, and Life. Let's take a listen of this interview. When did you know you were a writer?
Okay, I knew I had the skill for writing when in my 20s. It was my way of venting my emotions in a journal to regain my internal balance. And the way it helped clarify my thoughts and soothe my soul made me realize that I was good with words. Now, further down my career path, I also used to head the communication function in the companies I worked at. And while I was assuming this role, I also had my way of delivering the intended messages in a simple way to different target audiences. Um, and this really organically became my natural decision to be a writer upon retiring from the corporate world. And it felt right to turn the skill that I'm passionate about into pieces of work that I can help others with.
Cool. So your book, Me, Myself, and Life, Revelations of a Naked Self,
Yeah.
what is this about?
Okay, Revelations of a Naked Self is a memoir. It's about the outcome of a soul-searching and self-discovery journey that I had to recently take to set myself free from limiting thoughts and emotions that were haunting me really for too long. It's a book about confronting oneself with what might have been buried under layers of conditioning and being open to what life really is trying to teach us through the experiences it throws along our journey. The book covers various topics under 5 main themes about self-acceptance, appreciating others, family and relationships, the quest for happiness, moving forward, and new beginnings. So it's a vast array of topics under these themes. But Revelations of a Naked Self is the first of a sequel about rekindling people's inspiration through sharing others' authentic stories. Stories about various life twists, what they have done to successfully navigate through these twists, and what lessons they came up with. And the objective really behind sharing the stories and the lessons is to help others stand up and carry on knowing that they're not alone in what they're going through. So that's really the book in context of the larger me, myself, and life concept.
And what inspired you to, I mean, you said you went through self-awareness. What inspired you to write this all down and publish it?
Okay, there are 2 levels of inspiration. So the inspiration behind the whole concept of the series of Me, Myself, and Life, and the Revelations of a Naked Self being the start of it. Reading people's true stories about their struggles and how they made it through has always been a great support to me through major emotional dips in my life. But the recent milestone that broke free this inspiration into writing was the retiring from the corporate world and facing what's next. It steered an avalanche of emotions, Casey, thoughts and fears I was not aware they existed inside me. And I felt the need to pause and unravel those internal conflicts to be able to clearly decide on what and how to move forward. The more I wrote about those internal conflicts at that time and the life revelations, the more it brought clarity to my thoughts. And I felt I was gradually being healed, really. And just as reading other stories have helped me, I felt the need to share my own struggles and revelations among as many people as possible to pay forward how others have helped me through their words. And so that's why I decided to make it the start of a series that encourages this type of sharing, to continue the path of helping people by letting them know that they're not alone, just as they made me feel that I was not alone in what they face and feel, and that out there someone has gone through similar experiences and have made it through. So that's in a nutshell the story behind the inspiration of the series and the book.
Okay, so during your journey, can you name one thing you learned about yourself during this journey that you wasn't aware prior to?
I can actually name three.
Okay.
And these were unraveling as I went through the writing of the book and the whole journey of healing myself. One, I'm a very stubborn person. So once I believe in something, I keep marching relentlessly at it. It's true that I can stop to rest at times or to recharge, and that's okay. But I never lose sight of what I want, and I work hard to get it. The second key takeaway that I noticed about myself is that I am very good at staying attuned and trusting my internal voice. So throughout this whole journey, people around me had all sorts of views about what I should and should not do. And somehow I stayed attentive to what my deep voice was trying to tell me. And that was my anchor throughout the whole process. And that was my driver behind the energy and the focus until the book came to life. The last thing that I can tell you was really a key takeaway was that I now become definite that a real source of my pleasure is knowing that I have helped someone. The reactions that I got from people reading my book and their comments have made me believe that how I am helping them sorting through their thoughts and feelings through my words or simple actions, it brought immense peace to my heart and the belief that this is the purpose of my life and it's my calling and it's what I want to continue doing.
All right. Explain your publishing process. I'm assuming this was your first time really
Yeah.
publishing at all. So what were some of the things you learned that you weren't aware?
My publishing process was really pretty straightforward, and I have to say that I was really lucky about this. My publishing company, Book Baby, they were very professional and they took me step by step throughout the process. So there was no surprises, no causes of frustration. However, there is a caveat there that I need to point out, and it was a great learning as well to me through the process. What really helped this process to be easy and straightforward is that I was pretty clear in my mind about every aspect of my book. So I had at the back of my mind a clear idea of how the design of the book cover was going to be, how the internal formatting was going to look like, what is the book main message to the people. So that helped me in writing the book description. So when the time came at every milestone of the publishing process where the company was telling me, okay, now this is the time for deciding on the book cover or the internal formatting or sending through the book description, it did not take long to relay my thoughts to them during my brief. And accordingly, they did not take long in working them out as professionally as I wanted them to be. So that was a key learning in the whole publishing process. Be clear about what you want so that the publishing company does not take long in deciphering what you're trying to say to them.
Hey, are you a writer? a songwriter, a playwright, screenwiter, author, you write articles, poetry. If you're a writer, I want to sit down and talk with you. Go to my website, authorkcbell.com, and click on Writer to Writer interviews for more information. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this message. Me, Myself, and Life Revelations of a Naked Self is a book about the outcome of the soul searching, self discovery, and healing journey that Sally needed to take in order to free herself. For more information, go to memyselfandlife.club. We are back. Let's continue the interview.
I was intrigued by your profile, I have to say, and by the versatility of your artistic instincts. So my questions to you are, first of all, 4 keys to success. What made your book special in its own way in your eyes?
Special. I would say there's 4 keys. So the first key, I would say, what makes it special and unique, because it comes from an area that no one's ever paid attention to. I talk about the 5 factors that make us all unique, and I allow people to realize, if you allow your similarities to cause your identity, as far as gender, skin color, ethnicity, zodiac sign, things of those things. If you use those as your identity, that's usually how you fail, as opposed to using your true identity, which is the 5 factors that make us all unique. Our fingerprints, feet prints, our ear prints are unique. Our mouths are unique, so our teeth, our lips and our tongues have their own print as well, and then our irises are all unique. And I show people how those things, that's what causes us to succeed, that our prints, our uniqueness is governed by what causes us to be successful. So if we use those as opposed to the other things we use to identify ourselves, then we can get on the pathway where we belong and be successful.
Yep, true. Which of those 4 keys that you personally found challenging to master in your personal life?
I would say the second key, which was finding who you are. It deals with the fact that when we're a child, we're who we're supposed to be, but different things like our family, our religion, or school, our environment shapes us into who they think we should be, and we allow those to identify us, and we lose who we are. And so for me, it was, I would say, school, because I always wrote, just like you. I had a journal, and I would write to because I was bullied in school, so I would use my journal to get out my anger. And so I always wrote, but in school I wasn't good at writing, I suppose, English class and writing and reading and things of that nature. So I just always thought that meant I wasn't supposed to be a writer, so I didn't intend on being a writer, because the school system, the way they wanted me to write. And I guess you can say, even now, as I'm relearning how to write correctly, a lot of the stuff I'm learning, I don't remember learning. So I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention, or they didn't teach it, or they didn't teach it where I can comprehend it. But I realized the way they taught me is why I believed I wasn't supposed to be a writer. And so when I finally realized I was a writer, it took some years for me to admit it and to agree to it, because I couldn't shake the fact that my English scores in school were low. So that was, I would say, the hardest for me to grasp and to accept.
I'm impressed at your self-awareness.
Thank you.
Yeah, it seems that you can trace back the origin behind why it was challenging. So well done. Okay, when you look back at all your published books, and I have to say there are many, would you go back and rewrite any of them differently?
Probably yes. The first two, I would. I mean, I still could if I wanted to. I would probably go back and rewrite more in detail, and then I would definitely, because the first two books were not edited by a professional editor, so I would definitely rewrite them to be more, I guess you can say, more detailed, and then I would have them edited if I wanted to.
But not to change the message, the core message that you were trying to say.
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't do that. No.
Good. Yeah. Okay, good. Which means that you're comfortable with all the messages that you have relayed to the people, which is a nice feeling. In your profile and biography, you said that you are a proud uncle, and I like the term proud uncle. At what time do you think you would share your book, The 4 Keys to Success, to your nieces, and how would you tell them to approach reading this book in specific?
That's a great question. I never thought of, I do have children's books, and I did that for them specifically. But I never thought of sharing this book with them. I would, well, my first niece, I think she just turned 15, and then I have a nephew who just turned 14. So I would probably share it with them now, because I believe they're at the age now, they're going to high school, and now would be the time to share that, because high school is basically the years where we most lose ourselves, because we're trying to be like someone, or we want to fit in, or we want to sit at someone's table. So that's when we most lose ourselves the most. So I would, now that you said that, I'm thinking about sending that to them.
Would you send it to them with a message of read it and let's discuss, or would you put the book in a pre-context so that they can read under that influence?
I would send it to them, say, read this, and then I would probably leave a message saying, if you have any questions or you want to discuss this further, call me.
Okay. So you will let them read it at their own pace, and you would give them the freedom to relate and to ask you if they want to ask questions.
Right.
Okay. Your biography and publications show that you're such a versatile artist. But which of these activities are the closest really to your heart, and you consider that specific activity to be your true calling?
Which one is closest to my heart? I would have to say writing.
And the reason being?
It was the first thing that I started doing. I can say the first thing I wrote was a song. I was 6 years old.
Oh, okay.
And so it's definitely something I've done consistently my whole life, from like when I'll say middle school age, 7th, 8th grade. I had a karaoke machine, and I would write TV shows along with commercials and record them.
Wow.
So it was, whereas things like the other things I do as far as art, I never was consistent with art.
Yeah.
I was never consistent with basically anything else other than writing. Writing was the only thing I've done since and never stopped doing.
It's interesting now that you're saying how writing was an integral part of how you spent your leisure time since you were 6. But then because of how teachers at school were approaching this, you felt inside that I might not be destined to do this after all. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, as a child, well, I'll say for me, you just believe that teachers are always right, and
Yeah,
that
of course, of
if
course.
they tell you, if they give you a C constantly, you just assume, okay, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yep.
So that's what I believed.
Yep. And I think all of us are this person. So you're not different in that. We're all influenced by the figure of teacher and that they know better. So yeah, you're right. Okay, Casey, I'm done with my questions. You have such an interesting profile, I have to say.
Thank you. I'm glad about that you wrote the book that you wrote, and that it will be a series. And I like the concept of you asking other people to share their insight,
Yeah, yeah.
because people need to know that they're not the only one suffering through something, and that there is a way out of it.
Yeah, and I have to say, I only got to know this when I was in their situation. So in my dips, when I felt that no one is going to understand me because no one is going through what I'm going through, and I happened to be running into people telling about their stories, and they were going through exactly the same set of feelings and exactly the same set of frustrations. And even though that did not solve my problem, but it made me realize that, oh, okay, so I'm not alone. I'm not an alien in what I'm feeling and what I'm going through. And organically, it helped me clear my thoughts, and it helped me realize that there is a way out after all, because they have made it, so I can make it as well. Um, and people learn through storytelling, and so I said, okay, if it happened to me, then I have to pay it forward and let others know through interviewing people and sharing their true stories that they're not alone, and they can make it. So yeah, it's going to be a series of books around this, and I'm very excited about the mission of the concept of me, myself, and life.
And that is all the time we have for you today on this episode of Writer to Writer Interviews. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. That is all we have for you today. Thank you for watching. Join us again next week for another episode of Writer to Writer Interviews. You said this was a series. Is it just a second book coming out, or do you have more than one?
Yes. So no, I have more than one coming up. So it's a series, and it's a series where in every book I pick a theme about a life twist, and I will interview people that have gone through this life twist, what their true stories are, and what are the lessons that they learned throughout navigating through this life twist that they would like to share people with, so that people going through the same life twist, say a divorce or uh, um, being down with a major life accident or a chronic disease, whatever the life twist is, how they navigated successfully throughout this, and what is the lessons that they want people to know, so that they can feel that they were not alone and that they can continue and they will make it.